Hello and welcome back to the Club 303 podcast, episode 4. We've got an absolute crazy one coming ahead for you, talking about the American League East. I'm your host, Zach Reynolds, aka the OSN, the Oklahoma Sports Network play-by-play announcer of the year, because I'm like that. Joining me, Andrew Slade, of course, Pat Kennedy, fresh off a trip to the Northeast, had a hell of a time. And then, as we are recording, the birthday boy. He's a shitty Yankees fan, but he's our shitty Yankees fan. Austin Stokes down there in the corner, possibly intoxicated.
Very intoxicated. Before we get going, I'd like to toast to Mr. Stokes down in the corner. Austin, one of the souvenirs I got, other than the Yankees cap that I am repping for you today, is this Yankees shot glass.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Check it out.
Shit.
So,
Pat earned his stripes.
I did earn my stripes out in New York City. So, cheers, man.
Cheers, man.
Just like back in Palm Springs.
Oh, yeah. Fireball chased by Dr. Pepper is an elite.
Arkansas, baby. Whoop pig.
Hey, go Pokes. All right, so we'll get started with the actual episode now, I guess, and we will talk about the AL East going team by team like usual, and we're going to start off with the Boston Red Sox, who it's hard to care about, I feel like. Like, they're just kind of, they used to be, like, one of the teams, you know, as a Cardinals fan, fuck them forever for 2013. But now it's just like, who cares?
I feel like it was that way for the longest time recently. That pretty much, 2018 they had that monster team, and then they quickly fell off and just faded by the wayside, and were just acting like almost like a small market team. But now, like this past offseason, I feel like they have kind of ramped it back up, and you can tell by the fan base that they're just getting like hyped up now. They're really like getting hyped around this team. They have the young prospects. They obviously got Bregman. They got Crochet. They were in on the Juan Soto sweepstakes at one point, and actually were somewhat in on it. But overall, I think Red Sox fans are hyped up. Like, they're expecting to compete with the division, especially when you look around the division, like we'll get into. They have a really good lineup. Again, adding Bregman, they still have Devers. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Add to the rotation with, Crochet and Buehler. Like, they're really looking to compete in the AL East this year.
I as much as I can like the Red Sox as a Yankees fan, fuck them for eternity. But I remember when this franchise was all in on Tristan Casas, and that was the guy for a year. And the entire fan base was in on the summer of Casas, as some of you might remember.
Shout out Sam Fetterman.
Shout out, baby. Yeah, I mean, this offseason proved to be a good step in the right direction for him, picking up Bregman and Crochet. Then they also picked up Aroldis Chapman, which, man, dude, we're a little past that. I mean, we're a couple years past Chapman being a serviceable big-time closer. After he doubled back to the Yankees, it's just really kind of been downhill ever since. He hasn't really shown many decent signs of life that anybody's really given a shit about. After he fucked us in the postseason in 2017, I personally haven't been bothered to give a fuck about the guy. I guess it's still fuck the Red Sox. I mean, it has been. Nothing's really changed there. They just now have a good third baseman and a piece of shit closer coming out of the pen for him. They'll place probably third realistically in this division. They're still not going to be that good. Had they gotten Soto, it pushes them over the edge, but this is still the shitty fucking Red Sox. The same fucking team. They've been running out there year after.
Well,
year, they're going to have somebody to Green Monster, and then who really cares after that? They'll win their usual amount of games, and then, who gives a fuck at this point? I don't know. They'll third in the division. It's the Red Sox.
I don't care. That pause is staying in the episode because that made the rant even better. I will say their bullpen is mostly made up of guys that could be described that way, like past their prime, like used to be good. Like you got Liam Hendricks, Aroldis Chapman, Adam Ottavino. It's like that bullpen's crazy in 2016, but we'll see. Also, before I let Pat talk, I kind of cut him off, or cutting in the line here. I will say that Slater, you said their fans are getting hyped. I would just say that their fans are getting back to their obnoxiousness that they had when they were good.
Yeah, they've gone back to how Boston sports fans usually are, which is just obnoxious, loud, and that's just how Boston is. They've really just gone back to that.
Before they signed Bregman, when it was rumored, okay, they're either getting Bregman or Arenado's going to get traded, they were literally commenting under Ivan Herrera's posts, welcoming him to the team because they were just like, they're like, well, if we trade for Arenado, we're just also getting Ivan Herrera. That's just going to happen. And they were literally commenting under Ivan Herrera's Twitter and Instagram posts. Like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I hate that.
I feel like with the Red Sox offseason had so much potential to do something. Obviously, they got Bregman, which was a huge pickup, but something more with the bullpen, just adding that depth. One of my notes is just that the starting pitching has just in recent years has never proved to be anything consistent, and I think we'll see something very similar today. And then into the bullpen, I mean, bullpen probably won't be as effective either this year, and as Stokes pointed out as well, with a questionable closer. I mean, it'll be interesting to see some of the scores of some of these ball games over in Fenway Park this year.
Well, their starting rotation has a lot of project in it, I feel like. Guys like, Crochet's really, really good, but also he's not going to give you like more than 150 innings probably. Walker Buehler's coming off of injury. Lucas Giolito is not what he used to be with the White Sox, and it feels like for the past 3 or 4 years it's been like, oh, watch out. Maybe this time Giolito will get back to his old self. I mean, the rotation could end up being really good, but it also could be really, really bad.
I think there's just so much trust in that franchise right now, in the investments they've made. And I guess from a business perspective, that's what you want, is to trust your investments. But wow, man, that's a lot of trust, expecting some of these guys to go out there and perform to the extent that you're paying them. I mean, exactly like you said, Zach. I mean, you want Lucas Giolito to be what he was 5 years ago now, I guess. I mean, this is just completely unrealistic for this franchise to expect all of these guys to go out there and perform. And there's really no room for error on the roster either. I mean, it's either they all perform and, they bump up to second in the division, or they completely shit the bed and go down to fourth just like that. I mean, I just don't see a room for error, but there will be error because there's 162 games in a season. So it's just really waiting on who's going to drop the ball first, who gets hurt first, who blows up in May. I think it's really just going to be a tell how early the pitching really starts to just fall off the rails.
Let's see, like Austin said, like we've always seen cheats in the arm where like Lucas Giolito again today is going to start the year on the IL. I forgot to see what the timetable, but he's going to start the year on the IL again for Lucas Giolito. It's a guy that they were hoping to get something out of this year because he hasn't done anything in a Red Sox uniform. And then Garrett Crochet is the big pickup. Garrett Crochet on the mound is, from what we saw last year, is one of the best pitchers in baseball from the left-hand side. But yeah, he's a guy that's went from a reliever to a starter. Last year was his first year as a full starter. Here's the thing, how does he hold up? Like Tanner Houck has been literally that same way. You just don't know how he's going to hold up. Walker Buehler was just kind of garbage when he came back last year up until the playoffs. Like his last, I would say, 3 playoff starts, he finally put it together. But besides that, he was garbage last year for his standard. And then Brian Bayo is on Like I think he's coming back from shoulder soreness, and then you have Cutter Crawford too. Like this rotation's already just banged up to shit, and it'll be interesting to see if they can come out of it. With that said, I think I'm much higher on the Red Sox than most of you guys. I think the Red Sox are going to compete to win this division this year. I think it mainly is just the, top end guys like Devers and Bregman. I think are really good. Bregman is perfect for that Mickey Mouse ballpark in Fenway. He's going to hit like 30 home runs into the over the Green Monster, and it just is what it is. The same way he did it in Houston, just abusing a short porch. He's got no pop. He's just going to have a bunch of 97-mile-per-hour exit velos and just get over that monster. But with that said, it's going to work, I think. I think this is one of the teams. I'm going to have him first or second in the AL East, to be honest, personally.
Wow.
That's a little bold. I'm not, like, super down on him. I don't think – I think there's definitely potential there, especially if things go right with the rotation. I do like the lineup. But first or second, I think they, I don't know. I mean, it should be a really competitive division. I probably have them in at third, but I could see them getting up to second, getting a wild card spot. I think that's a little bold.
The main thing, the main X factor for me is they have, those main, the three main prospects that you'll, like Meyer, Campbell, and then Roman Anthony. Yeah, those are the main X factors. I think one of them, probably Roman Anthony or Campbell, is going to pop. And I think going to contribute big time to this team, and that's the main thing for me. The main thing to me is just how does it shake out when one of those guys does come up, and it's finally time to push Devers over to the DH spot and move Bregman to third and just move around the whole lineup, to be honest. That's my main question. But overall, I like this Red Sox team.
Didn't Devers go on record as saying that he is a third baseman and he's not a DH? Was that Devers?
Yeah, that was Devers. And then he came back today and walked it back after being emphatic early on in spring that he's not going to do it.
He doesn't write the lineup card, so I mean,
exactly.
At the end of the day, but we'll see.
The Red Sox just sat him down and forced him to watch Rafael Devers' defensive highlights, and he tapped out in 2 minutes.
That's an interesting take, though, Slade. I do disagree with it, but I don't mind that take at all. I think, it will be really cool to see Bregman at Fenway, honestly. But in my notes, I had their ceiling at around 500. I don't really see them breaking that. And then I pulled up the PECOTA standings, the projections, and that has them listed at finishing number 5 in the AL East. So that's really interesting.
Wow.
We'll see how that pans out. As we know, analytics don't always stay true to the way things pans out in real time.
It mainly is that I am high pretty much on all three of the Red Sox top prospects, to where I think at least one of them I think is going to make a big impact on this Red Sox team that maybe PECOTA or stuff like that isn't playing a lot of stock in. And I mainly think it is just the rest of the AL East, and we'll get into this. I think all these AL East teams have a lot of guys you look at, and this Red Sox team is included, whether it be Casas, Duran, Connor Wong, whoever you want it to be. You really can look at this all these teams and find guys where you're they could be really good, but they also could be absolute dog shit. That pretty much sums up this entire division.
The entire division is boom or bust. Every team I feel has a ceiling of being first and a floor of being last. It's kind of crazy, but that's kind of how I feel. Boom or bust for any of the teams, and we'll just have to see which couple of teams boom.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like you guys said earlier, it personifies it with this bullpen that, you guys have said, would peak back in 2019 with Hendricks, Chapman, and all those guys. To where it's just if you get back to that, it's cool, but probably not gonna happen.
Yeah, PECOTA, since I still have that pulled up, they're projecting Baltimore in first place at a winning percentage of .544, and then Boston in last with a winning percentage of .493. So it's pretty much all of these teams right around 500 with that, that question mark, like you guys said, where they're ceiling could be first place, and then their floor could be last.
I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to say this a lot during this episode. This is the toughest division in baseball. And every year that kind of shows that with just how tightly contested, I mean, exactly like Pat said, the floor or the gap between first and last is so tight every single year compared to a lot of the other divisions in baseball. And it really just shows how tough the competition on the East as a whole is between both, the the AL and the NL. This is always incredibly fun baseball. I'm really glad to be a fan of a team in this division just because of how tightly contested it is from start to finish. Sorry to circle back on it, but Slater saying they're going to be first or second is nuts. That's a crazy ass take.
To get on the divisions apart, I will say this is almost like this division is almost like the NL Central, but if these teams had World Series ambitions.
Yeah.
Unlike the NL Central.
I was gonna say the same thing.
But okay, is it? I don't think it's that crazy. Again,
I don't think it's super crazy, but I think it's certainly bold.
If we did our picks today, I think I would have them second, and I'll probably get into later this episode who I think is first. But right now, I probably would have them in second, and it's mainly just because those prospects, and I really like Devers. I like Bregman in this Mickey Mouse ballpark.
Do you think if their ceiling stays that high, do you think that they could steal a wild card spot if they don't get that number one seed in the AL East?
I think so. I definitely think this division is getting two teams. I think this division is going to get two teams pretty much, and then I would just stick with that. And then AL West, I think might get two, and it'll be interesting to see if the AL Central, if the White Sox could just not lose to every division opponent they have and not give them free wins. I think AL East and AL West are better than the Central.
Yeah, I like that take.
Well, moving on to the next team on the list, it is the Tampa Bay Rays. I guess they're still the Tampa Bay Rays. Shout out Nashville. Hopefully they move there or something. I don't know. There's a whole lot going on with them in the news recently. The MLB and Rob Manfred are trying to push out the owner for being too cheap, and his response was to be cheaper and take away the new ballpark. So let's see how that goes for him. But now the last news we've got, the last couple of days, is they've scrapped their plans for a new ballpark, and they're in St. Pete or whatever they're going to build it. So now it's up in the air. Are they going to move somewhere else? Are they going to renovate? I mean, Tropicana is destroyed. It'd probably just be cheaper to build a new ballpark somewhere. So, I don't know what they're going to do. They're the Rays. They've got nobodies on the roster that are going to be really good, but they're probably going to peak at second or third anyway.
It's crazy to have the worst ballpark in baseball, have it destroyed by a hurricane, and then less than a year later be we're going to fix it and go back to our piece of shit. It's there's not that's just they're going to move, is what it is. But then with this team, there's not a they're just mid. They're getting McClanahan back. That'll be big for them. And they got fun guys like Edwin Uceda in the bullpen, who's really good. And Junior Caminero is a good young third baseman. But this team is just mid. They're gonna win 75 to 80 games, and that's it, really.
Do you guys remember when the Rays were a genuine World Series threat? When Rosarena first got there, and that team was starting to build. Those were some damn good baseball teams. And then you even, go back further. The Rays coming off of David Price and Longoria and that crew, they still had depth. Coming out of that era, even after losing some of their biggest stars to free agency or to retiring or to whatever. And it just kind of sucks to see how far they've fallen under shitty ownership. And kind of like you guys were mentioning, your ballpark gets destroyed. That's like your beater-ass Honda Civic getting totaled, and then you go out and you buy another beater-ass Honda Civic to replace it, which I'm going to come back to that exact take later on when we talk about a different team. But, this whole team is just fucked beyond belief. I think this, I say all that to say that they're probably going to be the second or third team in the division. Probably. I think this is at their worst, a 65 win team. At their best, a 77 win team. I just don't think they're going to really impress anybody. I think they'll be there to beat a couple division opponents they shouldn't. They'll be there to scare whoever's in first and shake up the wild card standings, but they're just not going to be worth a goddamn this season like they have been last year and the year before. So it really doesn't matter, and I really don't care. And I don't remember the last time I was excited about Rays baseball, and I probably will never be again until they leave Florida, because Florida is obviously not the place to have a pro baseball team. And their owner should die.
Rob Manfred agrees with you.
And I think the fireball that you're hanging out with agrees with you as well. No, I mean, Tampa Bay Rays, I think a lot of what Stokes was saying is kind of my similar view with them. It's not really a team that I pay attention to, and to be honest, my notes on this team are kind of bland because, as Slater said, it's just a mid team. Nothing really exciting jumps out on the page to me. And I like how Stokes, you pointed out, those early 2010s teams, and watching those teams with those postseason runs. I just remember, when I was getting really excited about baseball, during those times, I remember the Tampa Bay Rays was a team that I almost wanted to root for during my time back then.
Yeah, the Rays have been the same my entire life, where it's just they've got a roster that's going to have a couple of stars. In this case, let's call it McClanahan and Caminero. But back in the day, it was Price and Longoria, and then the rest of the roster is a bunch of nobodies who will probably be nothing ever again once they leave the Rays. But for some reason, they play pretty good because they've got something. I don't know. They must have a really good analytics department or what.
That's the thing about this team. This team is just going to be annoying. They're going to be fifth place, but they're going to win 77 games, and they're just going to absolutely fuck up the Orioles or Yankees in September.
Somebody in the AL Central is going to be second in the division and miss the playoffs at 85 to 90 wins, and it's going to be because of the Tampa Bay Rays.
That happened. I think it was I think it was actually 3 or 4 years ago now. The Yankees season came down to game 161 in a 3-game series against the Rays to see if they were going to make the wild card spot or not, and against a unbelievably shitty Rays team. And so every year they just do that. They scare whoever's in first or second and shake up the wild card a little bit, and then they go to Cabo for the World Series.
The pesky Tampa Bay Rays.
Exactly. Again, this team, they have fun things and they'll have fun moments. Mainly the rotation, they're probably gonna have 2 guys randomly pop off, and same thing with the bullpen. But yeah, they're not gonna do anything in the grand scheme of things.
2020 doesn't count either. I mean, Brett Phillips was a key contributor on a World Series contender. That's not real. It's not real.
Exactly.
And you can't gaslight me into believing that it is.
But that's the thing. Again, the Rays are going to do weird shit. Ryan Pepio is somehow going to be top 15 in Cy Young voting this year for whatever reason on a bad Rays team.
All right, so now it is time to talk about the next team on the list, and that is the team up north in Canada, the Toronto Blue Jays. And they're another team that, is fairly boom or bust, but they've got some pretty good pieces. Especially in the middle of that lineup.
Yeah, I would this team on paper. They've just tried into forcing a competing window that is just not there anymore. Trying to find guys like Anthony Santander, Andres Jimenez they brought in through trade, Loperfield they got in the Kikuchi trade last year, and the bullpen's good. They added guys like Jeff Hoffman, and brought back Jimmy Garcia, but it's just this team. Its window is clearly closed. Guys like Alejandro Kirk, Dawn Varsho, like they've shown you who they are, and like this whole core pretty much has shown you who they are. This is a team that should have blown it up last year, and they're really just hoping that they get off to a hot start and can just ride that through this year and somehow convince Vlad Jr. to stay. But what's likely going to happen to this team is they're going to come out, Springer's going to get hurt, all this bullshit, like guys like Barrios, Bassett, Scherzer are going to break down too. And this team is just going to be offloading guys like Vlad Jr. Bichette probably by, June, July trade deadline. That's how the season's going to go. And we all deep down know it. We're just pretending like maybe Blue Jays could do something finally.
I will bet every dime in my bank account on 3 things. Number 1, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., a New York Yankee. Maybe not by the end of the season, but he will be a New York Yankee. Number 2, Max Scherzer gets fucking hurt, maybe by June. Number 3, this is the last place team in this division, and I think this is a ceiling 75 win team. Absolute ceiling. I think this is it shocks me that there are Blue Jays fans on Twitter and just, out in the world who are really excited about this starting rotation and talking about how this is the best starting rotation they've had in years. No, the fuck it's not. Have you ever
it's like the same rotation.
Any fucking baseball? It's the same fucking rotation they've had every fucking year. I don't fucking get it. I don't understand Blue Jays fans because they're going to tell me the same thing they've been telling me for years about how Vlad Jr. is the next best thing to happen in baseball. Well, he wasn't his rookie year, so something fucking tells me deep down inside that he's not going to be this year. Your rotation sucks. Your bullpen, that's fine, I guess, but can they throw 112 innings in a season? No, they fucking can't because your starters definitely aren't going to be able to carry the weight long enough to maintain their success. So you might get, 100 good innings for Max Scherzer until he just totally falls apart and gets hurt and gets Tommy John and does whatever the fuck he wants to do. And then your hitting is maybe the middle of the lineup's good. If it's not, god damn, they are fucked. I mean, this team is just so close to totally falling off.
You look at this Blue Jays roster, and there are pieces to like, but then you think about it, personally, like you mentioned, Vlad Guerrero Jr., they're somewhat of a negative line. I think he's really good. I think he's still getting better. I think we don't realize how young he really still is in the grand scheme of things. But he's fucking gone. He's gone.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want to pay him $50 million more on his total contract, which would have, who even knows how much that would have been per year? Probably not that much.
Well, I think it's that thing too. Is I think the offer that I saw was it was like one every year is like $500 million. Like that, I feel like it's pretty close. Honestly, if I had to bet, that's probably what Vlad Jr. is going to sign for. It's really just him saying, I'm fucking done here. I see what the window looks like, what we're going to compete like. And also, again, agree or disagree is a fact that, players don't like to go to Toronto. They don't like to go through customs, 80 times a year, every road trip. It's just a thing, it seems like Vlad Jr.'s out. This team just very much, it feels like, again, they're just clawing on to hopefully doing something.
They're hoping that the rest of the division sucks. Is
pretty
what
much,
you have to hope for if you're a Blue Jays fan.
They're hoping they get hot, every other team gets hurt, and they win the division with 87 wins, and then just hope that convinces Vlad to stay. But we all know this is probably this is in my opinion the last place team. I know I said the Rays, but actually now that I look at it and think about it is this team.
I don't think they'll be last place. I think the Rays will be, but I think Vlad Guerrero Jr. being pissed off and playing for a contract heading into free agency, it will probably be enough to keep them in fourth place, because I think he might go absolutely off to try to get a $600 million contract and then probably turn into a shitty player the rest of his career, because a lot of guys do that. We'll see.
But okay, if they trade people, imagine second half
I mean,
they
if they
were
blow
like
it up at the deadline on it, yeah, it's
I think they're just gonna fall, and that's why I'm kind of big on imagine this team without Bichette, Vlad Jr. and Scherzer.
The thing is, I don't know that I trust the Blue Jays front office to do that, even if it's the right thing, because we kind of all thought that was the right thing last season, and they didn't do it. I think they're so delusional about their window that they just won't. They'll be this is coming from a Cardinals fan. The Cardinals, if they're within 10 games of 500 at the deadline, they're not blowing it up. And I think that Blue Jays would probably do that, and it'll be bad for them. Because it's honestly worse to finish 4th or 3rd for them. They probably should just go for a better draft pick, but I don't think they're smart enough to do that.
Since I have the PECOTA standings pulled up, it has them projected at 85 wins and 77-ish losses, placing them number second in the AL East. And
wow,
I guess my question to you guys is why do you think that PECOTA is projecting them to be that high? And where do you agree and where do you disagree with that? Obviously.
Well, I think PECOTA's just looking at this rotation again. Gosman is legitimate, number one. Then you have Barrios, who has huge upside. You have Bassett. You have Scherzer. Scherzer's the main X factor. Is I think because looking at him Scherzer's going to contribute to the Blue Jays. But we all know kind of the vibe of his career, where it's at right now, and just the vibe of this team, and know that again, if Scherzer logs 100+ innings for this Blue Jays team, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I honestly think he probably pitches 60 innings to the Blue Jays, and by then is either hurt or traded. That's honestly how I feel about Scherzer with this team. And again, it's a full season of if Bichette gets back on track and Vlad Jr. has this contract year, just entering in his prime, and Anthony Santander is a player I like. There's a lot of things to look at this team and you see the upside, but that's in the code projection of 85 to me is their ceiling. Maybe you can add 2 games on top, but that is their ceiling to me.
Well,
yeah. So I had that. Because I looked at that right before my ceiling was 8, and I have it written right here, 85 to 90 wins as long as the stars align. And it's everything has to go well. Everybody has to stay healthy. And like you said, Slater, right at the beginning of this segment was, on paper, this is a really good team. You got Vlad and obviously a few other guys, Bo Bichette too, and then a rotation that you would think would be pretty good.
No,
yeah, but I feel
in 2021 that rotation.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. PECOTA is just really anticipating all of these guys to give a fuck about playing for the Toronto Blue Jays, and also for them to play baseball all season. And that is not good. Neither of those things will happen in the next 5 years to any single player on that roster. There's just so much. I've said it about every team. There's so much that can and will go wrong for this team that there is not a single doubt in my mind that this is a last place team. You could make the case to me that the Rays are, and I might believe you. This is just the floor of the East. It doesn't matter. This is the worst team in this division by a long shot, and there's. Yeah, they have good parts. There are parts of this team that are not bad, I will say. Obviously Vlad, Bichette when he gives a fuck. Max Scherzer used to be really good. You have a lot of things here that work. But I just feel there's so much at stake that won't work and that will go wrong for them, and that has gone wrong for them every single year. Having pitching that does not show up to work after the All-Star break. It happens every year. Every single pitcher on their roster really wants to get traded to a better franchise leading up to the All-Star break. And then after the trade deadline, when they realize they're fucked and they are stuck playing in Toronto, Canada, they do not care anymore, and they totally turn it off, and they suck the rest of the year. It is a test on the Toronto Blue Jays. How fast can I get traded? Do I have to be really good and get traded, or do I have to suck and get traded? Like, you just have to find where you need to be to leave. And it's just, there's a lot of teams like that in the MLB, and unfortunately, this is one of them. And so I do not see a reason they could place any higher than third, because to place any higher than third or fourth, you have to have a team that wants to be there, and they have not had that.
That's a good take. I mean, if you say, I mean, if you predict that this will be a team where that happens in 2025, who do you think, like, a player that, like Vlad, at the trade deadline, what team do you think would pick him up that would be buying at the trade deadline?
Don't you say
I
it,
mean,
Stokes. Don't say it.
Other than, I mean, obviously Stokes might say the Yankees, but what other teams?
I would throw out the Red Sox. I think would be interested, and they probably would give up Casas.
yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah, they give up Casas and like one of their major young prospects, and they would just hope to re-sign him. Honestly, if I had to make a favorite, it's like get like Vlad Jr., it would be like Yankees and Red Sox, and then like you probably have to wait. Like the Dodgers would find a way probably to somehow land him for like half a season, just to fuck
so
everyone
pissed.
else.
If I'm the Blue Jays, I don't pick up the phone if another AL East team calls me. I just don't do it. But that's me, and that's old school. I know.
Yeah, but like if the Red Sox call you and they're like ready, they're like, we'll give you like something again, like to give up like Meyer and Casas for like literally potentially just like 3 months of Vlad Jr. Like, granted, yeah, they can just re-sign him, and that'd be the Red Sox plan. But like for the Blue Jays side, like you're losing this guy, but then you get back Casas and like Marcelo Meyer. Like that is you almost can't pass this up because you're not getting that anywhere else probably.
You can pass it up if it's never offered because you never pick up the phone.
Fair enough.
True.
Moving on to kind of the young guns of the AL East, and I know that they've been that for a couple of years now, but they're still, I feel like, in almost like I don't even feel like they've hit their peak yet. I'm a big fan of this team. It's the Baltimore Orioles. I think that they have something. I mean, there's some issues there, but I think this could be one of the best teams in baseball if they put it together.
It hurts me to say, but yeah, I also like to watch this team play. Having such like fiery young guys is really scary to the rest of the division, knowing that now every other team is going to have to maintain this success and continue to get better as the Orioles get better. I mean, this is a really good roster in a couple of years once you get a lot of these guys up and playing really, high-level competitive baseball. I'm incredibly excited to see what this team looks like here in a couple seasons. This is the second place team. This is your first or second place team. I think that's not a super hot take. I think this is a team that could easily go up and win 100 games if they really wanted to. Like you said, Machine, yeah, there's a lot of holes. You have to fix a lot of stuff on the pitching. But I still think this is an incredibly competitive baseball team, and they have the want to go out and fix those issues and get better. And I think that speaks a lot of volumes. And this is a team that really likes the Baltimore Orioles, and they like playing in Baltimore. And so I think this is going to be a fun season. This will be the team that gives they're going to swap in and out of first and second all season. I don't see them really ever dropping below 3. I think, ceiling 100 wins, floor, this is an 85 win team with a couple hurt folks. I don't even see them giving up a lot at the trade deadline either. I think they're going to hang on and continue to develop and really become isolationist and kind of, keep things going on the home front. And so, this is a team that in the next 5 years could win a World Series if they continue to patch a lot of holes and stop just kind of putting duct tape over it. And so, I'm excited to watch them play this year.
Yeah, I really like this team. Like Austin said, like this young lineup is just going to keep on growing. I think it just continue to get better. And they did add guys like Tyler O'Neill, to this lineup that was really good last year. And the bullpen, they get Felix Bautista back. They brought back pretty much all the guys. They made additions at the deadline last year. The bullpen's going to be crazy good. The main thing that everyone's concerned about, and like Orioles like fans were pissed off about this offseason, and they did nothing for the rotation. Obviously, they lost Burns in free agency. He was not going to come back. But then they just did nothing to add on to that. Grayson Rodriguez now is down with injury. For Zach Eflin, Zach Eflin is a good like pitcher, but he is your number one now. And then you bring in Charlie Morton, who's just old and still just.
Still
I mean, yeah, he's still throwing it, but and like Dean Kramer, I do like, but then the main rotation addition this offseason was a man by the name of Tomoyuki Sagano.
Yeah, man.
From Japan.
And he's like 35, isn't he?
He is 35 years old, had a 1.67 ERA in Japan last year, had a 15-3 record if you care about that. But the main thing is I just wanted like video on this guy to see what he had. And I saw the Orioles posted a YouTube video being like, Sagano has nasty stuff. I'm like, okay, this is perfect. I got a 1-minute video. It was 2017 World Baseball Classic highlights. The first highlight, I think, was him striking out Adam fucking Jones in the box. Like
at this point, I'd rather put more faith in his high school highlights.
And I was like, holy shit! Like, where again, like, it'd be really cool if Tomoyuki Sagano just lit the world on fire, but. When we need to go back to 2017, like to find highlights to promote a guy, like that is just not the best spot to be in. But overall, I do like this Orioles team. They are my first place team. I had to shit on them a little bit because of young guys like Henderson, Rushman, Westberg, Kowser, Jackson Holiday, and they still have O'Hearn and Mountcastle on that team too. Like this team is just loaded on the lineup side.
Yeah, I will say like the fans are rightfully pissed about the rotation thing. To me, especially when like all these lineup pieces are so young and you're not going to have to worry about paying them for like literally 5 years, like any of them almost. Like now would have been the time to like give Corbin Burns a pretty big 3-year deal and hit your window. And then it's like if you bring back Corbin Burns and Sagano is like a flyer 5th starter, that's cool. That's fine. But when he's like hey, we promise we're trying.
Yeah. We need big boy innings out of fucking Sagano. 36 years old he's probably going to be.
No, like their bullpen is stacked and their lineup is stacked. So like they'll be fine. But they're probably going to have to buy at the deadline starting pitching. Yeah. And it's like, well, why didn't you just do it in the offseason? But I think that's more like ownership, like hindering the front office than it is the front office being bad.
Zach, you made a really good point there talking about the potential they have at the deadline. I think this is the team, if any of the clubs in Major League Baseball have a chance to totally revamp the organization at the trade deadline, it's the Baltimore Orioles with a couple good moves. You need 2 good arms at the trade deadline in your starting rotation to put you over the edge to maybe get in the first place race. I mean, they're going to be in the race for it all season, but if you really want to put yourself over the edge, that's exactly what you need to do. Like piece by piece, you have to buy at the trade deadline. You have to invest now. What do you give up for that? I don't know. But I feel like there's going to be enough available arms coming up to the deadline for teams looking to invest in their younger farm system and into the middle of their lineups, because that's really kind of where the MLB hurts right now, is those power hitters that might hit a home run or they might strike out 7 times. So I think they're going to be able to sell and get a really good, maybe set of decent arms in their starting rotation to kind of fix things over. Maybe you go for one big name guy and then another guy who was good a couple years ago to just kind of tide you over until the end of the season when you buy out of free agency. I totally agree with that, and I absolutely think that the end of their season is going to depend on what they do right at the last hour of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, to bounce off of everything that you guys have said with this young core, I mean, sounds like it excites all of us and myself included in that. This is a team that I really do think, I mean, and they got a shot at it this year too. I think in 2026 or 2027, they have a real shot of winning the World Series, and giving a team probably will be the Dodgers in the World Series this year or next year. or even the Cubs, like another team that's just rebuilt into, I got to talk about the Cubs, but just teams that have rebuilt in a similar way to find their way back into late October. And I think it's really cool to see the way that the O's have been able to do it thus far.
That's like I think that's like when you talk about the rotation. Like I think part of the reason fans are frustrated is like Pat said, like they're so close to a World Series. Like this team should be like competing for a World Series like right now. If they had like two like true like headliners at the start of the rotation, like they kind of did last year with Burns and Rodriguez. Well, obviously Rodriguez just hasn't really panned out to be that yet. But
Well,
again,
he is when he pitches, but he doesn't pitch very often.
exactly. Like he just can't stay out there. But again, this bullpen's gonna be so much fun. The lineup is young and a lot of fun, and then they just also have a great mix of like weird things going on. Like Gary Sanchez on the bench, which is just like the perfect like
El Gary.
Exactly. Gary Sanchez, like it'd be just awesome to see him just like hit like 20 bombs for those.
Some Yankees fan in September is going to be put on suicide watch because Gary Sanchez hits a walk-off homer when he's like spelling Adley Rutschman for a day, and it's going to like cost the Yankees in the standings or something, and the Orioles will like have a big lead in the division or something, and like not be worried about it. So like, yeah, we'll give Adley a day off in September, and then Gary Sanchez is either going to hit a walk-off or hit like 3 homers in a game, and it's going to cause issues in New York.
We just need a Gary Sanchez walk-off home run like in Yankee Stadium in June, just so we can hear Yankee fans just like freaking out and be like, we need to add fucking Gary Sanchez to this lineup.
Shut the fuck up about Gary Sanchez already? Jesus Christ, man. God damn.
We're just getting you warmed up for the Yankees segment.
Yeah. Get ready to fight for your life, pal. I do also want to say shout out Charlie Morton. He's got to like become shit eventually, right? Because he's just like keeps being really solid, and it pisses me off because again, Cardinals fan, like Adam Wainwright had to fall off and have an 8 ERA for 2 seasons in a row, and we let him get 20 to 30 starts anyway. Why can't that happen to Charlie Morton? Why can Charlie Morton continue to pitch? Well, I'll tell you why, because he can throw 97 still, and Adam Wainwright never could. But it kind of pisses me off, and I kind of low key want him to be bad.
Yeah, he just posts. I think he's just like Charlie Morton just knows how to pitch at the end of the day, even though like he did like have that renaissance where you get up to like 97, 98. No, it's mainly just like he can like locate his sinker and his off-speed stuff. He mainly just gets play off his off-speed stuff now, and he'll just when he's healthy he'll post those innings and he just gets the job done. But again, you want Charlie Morton to be like your good like number 4 or 5. If you're like the O's in this situation where you've just been gifted with this insanely deep young lineup, but like Charlie Morton right now is your number 2, which is a problem.
And now it is time for, at least I've been waiting for, and all of you watching should have been waiting for if you haven't figured it out already. We're going to talk about the New York Yankees, and without further ado, I'll hand it over to the birthday boy, Austin B. Stokes.
All right. This is the team that wins the division. They will make another World Series run. Let me explain why I say that. You lose Garrett Cole. Who else lost their ace last year? Who lost Tyler Glasnow? The Dodgers. They are poised right now with Max Fried. While they're saying he's not the number 1, while they're going to try to shove Rodon into that spot, Max Fried is the ace of the New York Yankees, and I guess he's our ace for the next year and a half. So I have to live with myself saying that. But he is the best we have to offer. He is the top of the cream of the crop in New York right now is Max Fried, and we are so banking on him performing well enough to get us through this shithole season that it's about to become. That I've never seen so much. When you have Andy Pettitte and CC Sabathia just maybe hoping they can get something out of this guy, we're fucked. I say that we still win the division, not winning the World Series, which I said last year that it was going to be a Yankees-Dodgers World Series with the Dodgers winning. It's just there's so like I would have said that this team wins the World Series even without Soto before literally fucking everybody got hurt. I also am probably going to need Tommy John from the amount of people on the Yankees roster that are hurt right now. We are running 40 or 36-year-old Carlos Cookie Carrasco out there to probably service innings in big games. It's fucked. At the deadline, gonna have to make some moves. I'm gonna come back and talk about him later, but I need to shit on Paul Goldschmidt for a little bit right now. If his back starts to shit the bed this year like it has in the past, and we start to see him, become what he was for the past 2 years, season's fucked. If Judge hits like he did in the playoffs last year, this year, season's fucked. If Austin Wells totally just ruins my expectations of him, shocker, season's fucked. I hate to be, Tony from Long Island calling into W Fan to bitch about his boys, but I mean, you have to be at this point in the season. Like, everything has fallen the fuck apart. The best, I don't know how you have two fucking bad elbows. How do you have two bad elbows? But he did. Big fucking G, two bad elbows, man. One of the first in fucking history to get two bad elbows. Garrett Cole, gone. He may as well be fucking dead to me at this point. This team is so just beyond fucked. And I'm going to continue to say that they win the fucking division to give myself a reason to get out of fucking bed every morning. But it's just beyond cooked. The shit has hit the fan, fellas. And I wish I could I wish we had done this podcast a year ago when I could have come into the season saying, yeah, this is going to be a decent baseball team. Well, hey, guess what? We're not going to fucking be this year. I can't sleep at night because of how bad this fucking team is going to be. I can't get up. I have no motivation to get out of bed in the morning. I don't want to keep living because this team has let me down year after fucking year. I'm so sick of it. How do you win 27 World Series, then you can't get one over the fuck-ass Dodgers without some of their best fucking players? I'm just so over it, man. You have this bullshit motherfucker sitting in the front office shining his fucking head all day, thinking about all the money he makes, counting his fucking hundreds in his wallet, and thinking about how he can continue to shit on this team so that motherfucker will still have a job and not be held to a higher standard. Aaron Boone hit a home run the year after I was fucking born, and they're still treating this motherfucker like he's Babe Ruth. What the fuck what's happening right now? They extended Aaron Boone for 2 years because he had Juan fucking Soto. I get to the World Series if I have Juan Soto on my team. It doesn't fucking matter. Why the fuck? I just don't understand. George Steinbrenner rolling in his fucking grave right now at the fucking state of the Bombers. You get rid of the shit-ass fucking facial hair policy. Who the fuck cares about that? That's not getting you any players. You really think a beard's keeping motherfuckers from wanting to come play in New York? No, it's because you're over fucking paying. What room is there to be a star in New York at this point? Who wants to spend 7 years of their fucking miserable career losing in the fucking ALCS every year to the fucking Astros? Who wants to do that? Nobody wants to put themselves through that. It's shitty as a fan. It's shitty as a player. I'd shoot myself in the fucking head if I were the owner. Fuck. I can't, dude. It gets me going every time I fucking think about it, how bad this team can fumble, how bad you can ruin a good fucking thing every fucking year. That's all I have to say for now.
I gotta say, as a Mariners fan who has never seen his team make it to the World Series or even come really close in my lifetime, to hear a man go from, yeah, I think we're going to go back to the World Series this year, to this team makes me want to end my fucking life within the span of 2 minutes is just a roller coaster. Even I knew this segment was going to get out, but even I was not prepared for that.
That was incredible.
I've got fucking tears in my eyes from laughter from that. And yeah, it all stems from starting with, we're winning the division, and we're going back to the World Series.
And here's why.
And here's why.
Maybe I got a little excited.
We were supposed to shit on the Yankees.
I know, and maybe I got a little ahead of myself, and I didn't take time to explain why this team still has a chance to win the world or to get to the World Series. This team will win the division strictly because So I think the main reason we're going to see another Yankees division title and then a possible, I'm pretty confident in saying that they're going to at least get back to the World Series, is going to be a big trust in the entire lineup. And I think I have a pretty decent idea of what that lineup looks like on opening day specifically. I think you have to go Austin Wells as your leadoff hitter. Unusual for a catcher to hit that high up, but I really think with this lineup, you have to trust Austin Wells as your leadoff guy. I think you go Wells, Bellinger, Jazz, Judge, and then you put Goldschmidt in the 5 spot, playing first. You have Ben Rice in the 6 hole as your DH. Then you go, 7, 8, 9 is really just kind of where you have to fit guys in. And I think right now, Springs, I know our stance on spring training stats, but I think based off of what I saw out of the bottom of the lineup, I think you have to go Volpe, Dominguez, Cabrera, 7, 8, 9. I don't know what that outfield looks like. I don't know who plays where because Dominguez looked so fucking abysmal in left field. A total inability to read the fly ball, but he can probably hit. So that's, I think, why they trust him in the lineup. Now, as far as who's on the bump on day one, I really think we see Max Fried. Boone did go out on record and say, "Hey, we're not going to start Fried on opening day just because of where Judge left in the line or in the rotation." But I think they're going to come to their senses. They're going to start their new ace, the one that they have to trust on opening day, and it's going to be Max Fried giving the ball to Devin Williams later in the game. And I think the lineup will produce Soto, even without Stanton, with a Judge who is a great big question mark because of his super shitty postseason, his mediocre spring training. I think he needs to produce in the middle of that lineup or they won't even come close. But I think right now I'm pretty comfortable with saying this is your first place team. I think this is a 95 win team, maybe 100 if things really start to click and if they can make some big moves at the deadline, if they can sort of fix the Goldschmidt situation that I'm going to talk about a little later. And I think there's a lot of big moves. I think there's a lot of guys right now in the league who want to play for the Yankees and who want to be on that historic of a franchise. I don't think this is the year for ring number 28. I think they're still going to have to continue to chase that and still have to build around a lot of their young talent, which I think is incredible this year, especially with guys like, Will Warren, who's going to be a pretty big part of this rotation. George Lombard Jr., who's going to keep tearing it up. Spencer Jones, so many of these guys who are really quality, young ball players who, if the Yankees can hold on and not try to sell for a big league guy, I think this is going to be a really good lineup for years to come. I know a lot of people right now are kind of speculating on Twitter specifically that there's going to be some trades, especially with the Marlins saying they're trying to get rid of Alcantara at the deadline. So I could see Brian Cashman fucking up my entire life and selling our best prospects for what's left of Sandy Alcantara. Not that he's bad, but I would just rather have 4 young guys who are going to change the lineup in the next 5 years as opposed to a guy who we're going to get for 3 good years and then we're going to have to fucking hang on to him for however long his contract is. But yeah, no, I think this is still your first place team. I just don't see a more well-rounded team in the AL East, and I know that's a really unpopular take. I think at the end of the day, they're still the New York Yankees. They're still, riding a lot of that success. They do have a lot of pieces coming back that I know nobody wants to talk about. And they fixed a lot of the holes from last year, i.e. the catcher spot with a guy who couldn't throw me or Zach out running to second. So, I think that's a big one. And I think there's going to be a lot of success in the Bronx. I think this is still the Yankees, man. I mean, they're still going to be fighting for that top spot. I know last year or a couple of years ago, we saw that big drop off where they went down to 4th in the division towards the end of the season. But I think this is really going to be the year for them to continue to make the stake. As long as Aaron Boone is the GM, they will not, as long as Aaron Boone is still the head coach, they're not going to win a World Series. But, it'll be fun to watch them get deep into the playoffs, maybe make a deep run. This is an ALCS possible World Series appearance team. They're going to win the division. I don't really have any, uncertainty with saying that.
Well, let me tell you the truth about the opening day lineup with Aaron Boone as manager. Anthony Volpe is going to bat leadoff and strike out. and Carlos Rodon's going to start and probably give up a couple of cookie fastball home runs.
Yeah, I mean, I really can't disagree with you. And I'm gonna use, I'm not saying that I know more ball than the guy who makes millions of dollars a year to coach the Yankees, but fuck me, are you fucking kidding me? And I got my rant out earlier, so I'm not gonna yell and scream about him putting fucking Nestor Cortez into the fucking World Series to give up a walk-off grand slam to Freddie fucking Freeman. I'm not going to get too mad about that. He's the biggest fucking joke of a manager in baseball. I used to say that shocker about Mike Matheny, but now my focus is really on how much I wish Aaron Boone never fucking existed, even though he did hit that big home run however fucking 20 years ago. You're right. I fucking, I'm just not going to accept it because it doesn't align with my takes.
Also, like, what I will say, I guess that kind of segues into what I'm going to say. I think this is like the third place team in the AL East. I think this is the year. I think the Yankees are going to disappoint. I think Aaron Boone does get fired after the end of this year. It'll just be too much. They'll disappoint. And the main reason I say that is just they have things that, like, there's so many things that they're relying on. Towards almost like the way we talked about these other teams where it's like you have a lot of guys where it's like, oh, it all works out. But there's certain things that's like Ben Rice is currently the DH on opening day. And like the DH for the planned future at least. And this is a man who had like a 72 OPS plus in 50 games last year. We've always seen Ben Rice. You can hope he's going to do more. Oswaldo Cabrera, we've seen before.
Is awful.
Oswaldo Peraza, same shit. Like just both below average players. Volpe, I think, is a pretty good shortstop. Austin Wells is above average catcher. Judge is a superstar, but he doesn't have Soto to kind of like. Cause I was saying last year, I think with the Yankees, a lot of the Yankee games I watched, a lot of them were just Soto and Judge single-handedly carrying an offense. That like some nights you get the occasional like random Verdugo home run, but besides that, it's just like it was those two guys. And now you lost one of those guys, and you replaced him with Cody Bellinger, who is like you're hoping to get like the early on like 2023 Cody Bellinger, but what you're most likely getting is just a above average center fielder that'll help Judge like not have to play that premier position, and you're hoping that he hits like 25 home runs, but he's probably gonna hit like 20, be a above average bat. Goldschmidt. You're hoping for pretty much the same thing. You just want him to be above average at both defense and offense, and we'll see if that happens. Jazz is good, but I'll get down to this. Like OPS wise, you're gonna have Judge, but besides that, like you're looking at a bunch of guys who are trying to hit like a 750 OPS.
You mentioned Jazz, and I think that's a good point. I think one thing that's important to talk about with Jazz is not a third baseman. He is not a third baseman, and I will say that until the day I die. Jazz Chisholm is not a fucking third baseman. And, last year the Yankees were a little league team on the base paths and sometimes a little league team defensively. And I think a lot of that is just because you're trying to stick guys out there strictly because they can hit really well on offense, but defense also really matters, and running the bases also really fucking matters. And you can't just have Judge hit home runs all year. I'm contradicting myself, I know, but also I think they did it last year and got to a World Series, Soto or not. I mean, had they not had Soto, they still get to that World Series. They lose it a lot quicker. They lose it in 4, but they still get there. So I don't think you can entirely say, hey, Soto and Judge, because Soto was there, got them, to that point. But I do think that it is worth mentioning that that was a big part of the lineup. Soto did bring an energy to New York that we haven't seen in a long time. And I think that, barring the glaring issues that every team has and that we've talked about with almost every team we've covered so far, that there are just so many issues that they're going to have to overcome. A common theme we've talked about on this podcast is guys have to stay healthy. So we're putting that faith in every other team. So to continue to put that same faith in the Yankees, I think that if they do the unexpected and can keep most of their guys healthy, that this is another World Series contender.
But that's the thing. Like, this lineup is just like, it's guys who have a kind of concerning injury history, whether it be Judge, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, and Chisholm. And then it's the rest of it is pretty much like these young guys who you're hoping.
I wouldn't say that Judge has a concerning injury history. The toe was bad, but I wouldn't say that he's got like. That's not a glaring thing to me. I think you could say Goldschmidt's back, and you could say like Jazz's body, really top to bottom, is kind of a fucking spare tire. But I really just think it comes down to how well the momentum carries Judge. Judge is a very beginning of the season is a tell for him. The season he hit 62. I'm not wearing the shirt right now. I actually saw Judge hit that home run, and that's one of my favorite moments of my entire life. Getting to see one of the best ball players your team will ever have.
Eighth most home runs in the season all time. Yeah.
Have you seen any of the other fucking 7? Anyway, I think that he is an incredibly important part of this team. He's been healthy for years. We've seen one injury from him that I can remember, one major injury from him. I don't really agree that they have that many glaring possible injuries. Yeah, you have your old washed up fucking losers that have their possible injuries, but I'm so fucking used to that with this bullshit fucking Yankees organization sometimes that it's not even real, man. Like, yeah, they keep signing these old fucks who should be put in a fucking nursing home and who should be coaching high school baseball, but you just learn to live with it. And hey, the injuries haven't been that bad when we've tried it in the past, so I'm going to trust that they get this, that guys like Goldschmidt maybe get the magic of, oh, fuck, I'm a Yankee now. I guess that means I should probably show up to work and try. I think a lot of that Yankee magic that I talk about a lot is going to save them. I don't give a fuck who he is, man. He's gonna catch wind there, and he's gonna make a case that he shouldn't be traded, and we're all gonna fucking believe it. And then in August, I'm gonna put a gun in my mouth and think about killing myself because Paul Goldschmidt fucking sucks.
Well, okay.
I need to stop on Goldschmidt, or I'm gonna ruin my fucking pack your bags take.
but like my question, like with the depth, like I'm gonna lump a lot of these guys together. Like just look at like Yankees depth, like Jason Dominguez, Ben Rice. Fangraphs had the Yankees benches Alex Jackson, Dom Smith, Oswald Peraza, and Trent Grisham. Like, to me, like looking at this team on paper, like this depth in the lineup perspective with the injuries they've already had, like with Stanton, is I'm just concerned.
To piggyback, like the vision in my mind of like worst case scenario for the Yankees is Aaron Judge does get some kind of injury, can be a freak injury, whatever. And then they like put Jazz Chisholm in the outfield for some reason because he kind of played in the outfield some in Miami. And then DJ LeMahieu is back in the starting lineup at second base every day for the Yankees for like 3 months.
I'll put on the record, if Jazz Chisholm touches center field this year, just cancel the season for the Yankees. It's over.
Fuck if we're running Jazz out there. I mean, I'm not as excited about this infield as I have in years past because, and I told you guys in the group chat the other night, I was really fucking excited when Miguel Andujar was eating innings, and I was excited when fucking Greg Bird was coming up. This is just not an infield that excites me. However, this is an offense that does excite me because they still have Judge getting a lot of his pop. Fuck every single one of you. I still think he can hit like he's still in his prime. I'm not a Yankees fan that thinks he wasted his World Series potential last year because that was the most abysmal fucking performance I've seen from a Major League Baseball player in a game. I'm talking specifically Game 5, 5th inning. And I fucking hate my life. I don't know. I think this is still a lineup you can trust. I think the middle of the lineup still has enough power to really get him over the hump.
I don't think that like Judge is falling off or anything, but I think that he's the only thing in that. I mean, Jazz is like
until the trade deadline. I'm putting so much trust in the trade deadline.
I don't like. Yeah, I'm with Machine. Like, I get the trade deadline piece, but it's like, what if the Yankees again just like things don't go their way early on in the year, and what if they just suck? Because that's what I'm worried about. Like, I think back to like um what was it like? It was a couple years ago when the Yankees just bottomed out. I think it was when Cole got hurt also.
Yeah.
They kind of just bottomed out. That's kind of what I'm afraid they're going to get this year, especially again like Machine said it. When you take Judge away from this lineup, Wells, Bellinger, Goldschmidt, Chisholm, Volpe, Dominguez, Rice, and Cabrera. That being your lineup,
I think the
like
best
could it work out? Yes, but like that is there's a lot of question marks there.
I think best case scenario for the New York Yankees right now, and this really hurts me to say this because I love him as a ball player. Stanton retires, we get a lot of that money back, and we go out and we get a really top of the line player at the trade deadline that we can afford. We give up not George Lombard Jr. and not Spencer Jones and not Will Warren, but we could eat losing a couple prospects and gaining them back in the draft because we have for the past 6 years. But I think it's just there's going to be available players at the trade deadline. If Stanton just realizes, hey, I'm done. I can't come back from this because I'm too old and I don't know how I got two bad fucking elbows. I think they bounce back from that. They fucking just push him to the wayside, send him down the river in a sack, and eat a lot of that money and just go build a team around what you have and stop waiting on these old washed up fucks to hit like it's 2015.
My next question. Oh, and this is my last question. I think about the lineup. Austin, take out Judge. Out of like the Yankees opening day lineup that you put out, give me like the top 3 guys you trust in that lineup.
Let me. I mean, fuck me. I personally do trust Jazz Chisholm. I right now trust Cody Bellinger because of how well he did in spring training. And I trust whoever they can afford to sign if Judge is fucked. That's my answer. Because there's not a third one. Maybe I did.
I think what sets the Yankees apart from all the contenders in the East, I mean, you got Baltimore and Toronto, probably the two that'll give them the most run for their money, in my opinion. I think the thing that sets the Yankees apart from these other teams is their experience. Late in the season, they got all these veterans that have had success in the postseason, and so that's my biggest take about New York is that they just have that experience, like throughout most of the lineup, as well as in the bullpen too. They got guys who just have that experience, and I think that might take them a little bit further than a team like Baltimore without that set experience.
And I think the tradition with that.
Let me put it on the record. I love Paul Goldschmidt. I always will. It's America's first baseman. Bad postseason track record, just like Judge.
And I was getting ready to say that. I think Goldschmidt historically is not great in the postseason. God fucking knows Aaron Judge isn't great in the postseason. You know who was great in the postseason? The bottom half of the lineup for the Yankees. You had
two broken elbows. Giancarlo Stanton was pretty awesome.
Giancarlo Stanton played. Whatever he had left in the tank, he cashed out in October. And honestly, one of the players that surprised me in the postseason run last year, despite all the shit I talked, Alex Verdugo and that bottom half of the lineup, because you had games where the Yankees. Well, right, but I'm saying like that's still the bottom half of the lineup that's being represented there, and that we're really coming out of nowhere to provide decent and really incredibly quality at bats, especially in games where the Yankees were so far out because the top half of the lineup wasn't producing, and the Yankees all season were a middle of the game runs team. And so when you have that middle of the lineup who can't produce there in the middle of the game, you still can rely, and they've shown that you can rely on the bottom of that lineup because I don't know, man, there's really no other way for me to put it than Yankee magic. Guys, for some reason, when they put the pinstripes on, it just changes the way they play baseball in those tough situations because of the tradition that comes with that. I mean, Derek Jeter and the core four are still playing a big part in spring training this year by coming out and talking to a lot of these younger guys who are on the team. And I think a lot of there's trying to force so much of that like 2009, like early 2000s magic. And I think a lot of that can carry over because we've seen it. We saw it last year with the Yankees team that honestly, I thought there have been better postseason Yankee teams in the past 5 years than what we saw last year. I thought the 2017 team was a lot better. I thought the 2014 or 2015 team was a lot better. It's just one of those things that they surprise everybody every year, except for 23 when they totally shit the bed. I don't think we're poised to have another season like that. I don't think they're going to go down and just really kind of tank there at the end. I've said it all episode, man. I really think this is going to be a team that can get it done because the bottom half of the lineup and the middle half of the lineup, or the middle of the lineup, are going to be able to produce on the big stage because exactly like Pat was saying, they have the experience. They know what it takes to get there and like be pushed over that edge because every one of them, for the most part, has been there before and they've seen what it takes to get there and they've seen that you have to win every day. And so I think a lot of that is going to carry over, especially to the success of the bottom half of the lineup.
Third place team.
First place team, I don't fucking care.
Third place for me.
Pat, what's your vote?
I'm starting to be convinced from Stokes. I might be putting him at second place now. I had him at third.
Coors Light talking.
That it might be, and both these hats, not the hat, fucking A, the hat and the shot glass. Maybe it is the Coors Light's talking now.
We need another segment for this, but I almost kind of want to compare the Red Sox and Yankees lineups.
Let's do it in the next segment.
I'm ready.
All right.
Let's just say we have to compare these two. We just have to.
Let's do it.
All right. So I really want to just compare like the Red Sox and Yankees, obviously most storied rivalry in baseball. And I think part of the reason we've seen Red Sox fans, like I said earlier, just get so hyped up is that I think this way. I think a lot of Red Sox fans think this way. That this Red Sox lineup has reached the point where it is better than the Yankees. I think just top to bottom. I think with their depth, their young guys, and even again, I trust Jarren Duran, Rafael Devers, Bregman. I just trust those top end guys. Like you have Judge with the Yankees, but then after that, you get into the questionable territory of the guys like Bellinger, with the guys like Goldschmidt, with the guys like Chisholm. I just think the Red Sox lineup is deeper, and then you get because I think Trevor Story, I think is almost comparable to I think I trust Paul Goldschmidt more to be better. If Trevor Story stays healthy, I probably trust Trevor Story to have a comparable season to Paul Goldschmidt, and he's almost the guy that's written off for the Red Sox. And then the rotation with Crochet. I think him and Fried you could probably put on the same tier.
What the fuck?
I absolutely not. You absolutely can.
Yeah,
if
really good. The
Crochet's
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying Max Fried.
Fried might get more innings. But I think Crochet for 160 is comparable to Fried to 180 innings, value wise, to me. And then when you look at the rest of the rotation, I think Bayo and Crawford, I think are going to come back. I just don't fucking Will Warren, Lombard, and fucking Jones. I can the Yankees have gone value out of the rotation, but I just don't know, man.
This is also arguably the worst year to pick apart the rotation for the Yankees.
Yeah.
I also don't know. And I also agree that the Red Sox probably do have a better rotation, top to bottom. I don't know, man. That's such a crazy... maybe it's just because I'm so overly biased in this for so many reasons. Crochet and Max Fried are not comparable. You're talking about a guy who has really established himself as an ace.
I will.
Crochet.
Fried is more established, and I trust Fried more. But I will say, if things work out for Crochet,
he's got higher.
I don't think I don't think it's crazy to hope that things work out for Crochet and he stays healthy and stays and gets to his innings mark, which I think for him, I think what you're hoping for as a Red Sox fan is regular season you want like 160, maybe 170 innings. I don't think
Game
that's like
7, who are you running out there, Fried or Crochet?
I think Crochet.
What the fuck?
I think Crochet's better. Like
no
overall,
way.
yeah.
In a vacuum, he's got better. He just has better stuff.
Yeah,
In a
I think
vacuum.
Crochet's just nasty.
Baseball's not in a
I
vacuum.
don't know if I agree with that. I'd say Fried.
Like Fried is good. Like I mean, Crochet just the fastball like in the slider like that almost it would work better. I feel like on the other hand, if you told me like, hey, like for a regular season, who would you rather have, Crochet versus Fried? Then I would start thinking like Fried because I trust Fried. I think in like the long haul and just like consistently posting like quality starts. But Crochet, if you give me like one game where you want this guy just to absolutely blow everyone up and just shove it up their ass, like I trust Crochet in that like situation.
Based on
More
what?
than, also,
His,
I mean,
did you watch
last
him
year-
pitch last year?
I know, I understand that, but I'm saying, like, if we're talking about a big game, why would you take someone? Why wouldn't you choose Max Fried, who is a completely already established arm, who has been in big game situations, who has had it the entire weight of the franchise on his shoulders? It is totally like just you're outside of your mind saying you'd rather have Crochet.
I don't like. I think it is just like Crochet is nasty. Love the cat pat, and then but I think Crochet is just fucking nasty at the end of the day. And I think Fried is good, and Fried is a pitcher, and Fried is a legitimate number one. But Crochet again, the ceiling of Crochet is being the best left-handed pitcher in baseball. I truly think that. Like there are question marks with Crochet. It's mainly because of the innings and just the lack of starting pitching experience. But the actual like work on the field is just undeniable. I think at this
For 9 innings, the work on the field is undeniable for a game, for a full game where he is starting the game, and you want him to go as long as he can. The wait is undeniable still.
Yeah, I'm staying by that take. I
Wow.
think like I mean I've like seen Crochet like. Granted, like I know I really saw him. I really think he might have gone like 7 or 8 innings against the Mariners last year. And you can say that's the Mariners' shitty lineup, and that's true. But I mean, the guy just fucking when he's on, he's like just unhittable.
Yeah, I mean, who isn't though? I mean, who in the major leagues when they're on isn't like that is such a broad statement.
Okay, but also Austin, like the lineup, like.
We're talking about the starting pitching.
But like
the lineup, I don't fucking.
Well, I'm saying, but like I think what you did concede though, Austin, that like the Red Sox rotation is better than the Yankees.
Top to bottom, sure.
Okay, and then
the Red Sox have a better number 4, sure. Fucking yeah.
Okay, yeah, top to bottom. Okay, and like we can like you could argue like maybe postseason rotation. Hopefully the Yankees get someone, and maybe it's Alcantara. And again, the Yankees. Honestly, anyone but the Cardinals have not lost a trade against the Marlins, so I wouldn't be concerned at what you would give up for Alcantara. Knowing like Derek Jeter's ways, you're probably just gonna give up like Ben Rice and a Reese's peanut butter cup, and like just get like prime Sandy Alcantara back. But no, like the main thing too. Again, the main thing when I look at this lineup is just like the guys I know will post offensively for the Red Sox versus the Yankees. And it's mainly just like those top 3 guys. Like I said, like with Devers, Bregman, and then like Jarren Durant. I just trust those guys more than like I think the group of like Judge, Chisholm, and then Bellinger. I think would be the 3rd guy maybe. I think I just trust the Red Sox top 3, and I also trust the Red Sox like depth offensively, especially with those young guys more.
I will say. Depth-wise, yeah, I give you that one. Red Sox depth over the Yankees all day. I don't know. Like, I feel like the Duran, like, that group conversation still, to me, doesn't have enough depth to really make it considerable, in my personal opinion. Like, I just don't think there's enough there to match what the Yankees are going to produce come August. And we've seen it every year where people are, and maybe not last year, obviously, because I even will consider last year to be somewhat of a wild card season. But people kind of write the Yankees off there at the late July, early August phase, because that's usually when the old guys are ready to go fucking sit on the beach and hang out with their 45-year-old wives. I mean, that's just kind of the way it goes. But, I still think that this is, man, I just really can't get behind the take if I trust that group more than I trust the Yankees, like, heart of the lineup. I don't know that I can buy in on that.
I think Devers is more comparable to, like, I think Rafael Devers is closer to Aaron Judge than the rest of the Yankees lineup is close to the Red Sox lineup.
I don't even know about that, man. And I'm not even trying to sound like a shitty Yankees fan. Like, this isn't even like me, putting on the bit. Like, I don't know. Like, maybe. Like, that's a really, as a hitter.
Like, I love Rafael Devers as a hitter. I think Rafael Devers as a defender, third baseman sucks. When you move, like, his bat is honestly probably one of the 5 best in baseball. I think. Fringe could be in that conversation. Definitely top 10. His bat is just insane. Like, Judge is obviously probably number 2 or 3 on the list, but Devers is easy top 10 for me, arguably top 5. And then again, like Bregman, especially again, like I said, in that Mickey Mouse ballpark, he's gonna post. And honestly, I think it's that just like confidence that Bregman's gonna like just post in that shitty ballpark that makes me so much more confident than like anything. Like Chisholm, like he went 24 home runs and 40 stolen bases last year, one of his better seasons. But even then, his OPS is usually just like 750 and just, yeah.
I am hoping that, and I will say, and you said something that I do agree with, that Bregman will cash in on the porch. Like, I think that is going to really stat pad Bregman. When you talk about Jazz, I think for me, it's what is left of that enthusiasm for us to squeeze out of him before we send him off. What's left of Jazz, who is, in a lot of ways, to me, really reminiscent of the Wizard. Like, he's a guy who has such a big personality. And, Zach, I saw it. I'm not saying he's as good as him. I'm not saying that they're the same. But I am saying that the energy they bring is very similar. It's this big, like, show. Like, it makes the game fun. You like watching Jazz Chisholm because of the show he's going to put on. And so I think that is going to carry in.
Not allowed to have fun in New York.
Sorry? You cut out a little bit.
Well, I said that's not the Yankees baseball I know. Having fun.
Well, that's true. I mean, fun Yankees baseball isn't a sentence I've said since Dellin Betances was coming out of the bullpen. But, I think that he really does bring such a vibrant energy to the game, and that really carries over. And as we've seen, personalities in the Yankees dugout go fucking a mile and a half when you've got Anthony Rizzo still making the starting lineup in big games, and he's just there to get you going in the clubhouse. I mean, that is a big deal. Soto, his personality really, honestly, and I'll even say it, carried Judge and Stanton to want to be better because they didn't want to get outplayed by some kid. So, I think personalities go a long way with this team, and I think Jazz has it, and I'm not going to say Jazz is the next, a miracle on the team for the Yankees by any means, but I think he carries a lot of weight. And I personally would put him, basing off his last season performance alone, would put him closer to Judge than I would Rafael Devers.
Excuse me? Closer to Aaron Judge
that
would be
as a quality baseball player.
Even as bad as Devers is defensively, I mean, just
personality doesn't matter that much. Hitting does.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I'm not basing that whole statement on his personality. I said this. Last season alone, I put him closer to Judge than I do Devers based off of the performance and how solid he was in that lineup and how much of a part he was there in the short time we had him for. I say he's closer to Judge than Devers, and maybe that's just because he was excited to get the fuck out of Miami, and I steal 40 bases after I leave the fucking Marlins. maybe we cash that in for another season. Maybe we get 2 more seasons out of it. But I am saying while he has this same enthusiasm and motivation to play for a better team, he will continue to be that good. And I'm going to say this on record that he will be one of the most productive hitters. And some of you are going to say, so fucking what? He's one of the most productive hitters on this shit-ass lineup? Yeah, he's going to be the second most productive hitter on this lineup. He will be a major part of the offense of this season going into the postseason. And I think he's closer to. I still think he's closer to Judge than Devers.
I think, and I'll say this on record, I think that's one of the worst baseball takes I've ever heard in my life.
Honestly, I'm honestly with Machine here. I think talking about
I think Jazz Chisholm is one of the more overrated players in baseball.
I'm honestly with
cover.
With that, and I think like Chisholm does bring good energy, but almost that's the same. I think like elevating Chisholm because of that is almost like when you hear like these certain people be like, Danny Amendola is just as fucking good as Justin Jefferson. Like Danny Amendola just has that grit and can block. It's like, well, we don't give a shit. Justin Jefferson can score 99-yard touchdowns with jumping over everyone. That's pretty.
But look at what Jazz was doing for the team in the postseason. Now, the first one of you motherfuckers to read off a batting average to me is getting punched in your fucking mouth because I'm not gonna fucking hear it. But look at what he did for that offense during the fucking postseason run. Zach, stop looking up the fucking stats.
Zach will have to look up the stats on that. I don't have.
I was doing it too.
But then like. I do like Jazz Chisholm, but Rafael Devers is just he's hands down. Like I think, and just if you look offensively, even if you take away the bad defense, like Devers is just.
But Devers has too big of an ego to want to sit behind. Like Zach, go ahead. Just ruin my fucking night.
In the 2024 postseason for the New York Yankees, Jazz Chisholm had more strikeouts than hits. 14 strikeouts, only 10 hits the entire postseason. So.
Okay. Sure.
Well, that's thing with Jazz is like he can do so much damage, and like when he does, like it's almost weird because like he's a smaller frame guy, he's a second baseman, but it is a thing of like he does have like ton of swing and miss. But when he makes contact, he does like he can do damage, but it's just there is like. I feel like a good amount of swing and miss there for an athletic guy.
He continuously gets these hits. Like, he didn't get a lot of hits, but I will say the hits he had were always quality. They were always in situations where the team needed that boost, and they kept coming in big situations. Like, he didn't get a ton of good contact in the postseason, but what I will say about his postseason performance is that it was so clutch when the team needed it, and that's something that I look a lot for is who can deliver in these big moments, especially when you're talking about the bottom of the lineup that sucked total dick for the majority of the season, and then at the end of the season you have like 4 guys who decided to show up and play baseball when all your old fucks were just like, well, all right, I'm done with this. I'm going to Cancun tomorrow anyway, so I don't give a fuck. But you had the entire bottom half of the lineup and these guys who needed to prove that they deserved a spot on the New York Yankees, who were playing their ass off every day. And Jazz was one of those guys, and he will continue to be one of those guys who is going to prove that he deserves a spot here and that he deserves to play for a major market franchise for a long time. And because he has that on his back and he has that to prove coming out of a shitty little league team like Miami, that alone is going to be enough to really push him to want to play a lot better and continue to play like he did in the second half of the season last year.
All right, well, I almost feel bad for Pat. It's like 1 a.m. there now. I literally just realized that. I mean, we still have stay hot and pack your bags to go. We can.
No, here's why I keep going out. My cat's got the fucking zoomies right now. They're fucking pissing me off. But what I got to say about this whole debate, I while you guys were debating, I went ahead and asked ChatGPT, Chaz Chisholm versus Rafael Devers. Who would you say is better? And so it kind of broke down like in the different tools. It said hitting advantage Devers, defense advantage Chisholm, speed and athleticism Chisholm, durability and consistency Devers, overall impact Devers. Final verdict, word for word, is what ChatGPT is saying. If you're building a team around one of these guys, Devers is the safer and more impactful pick due to his offensive production. Chisholm has more raw tools, but hasn't put together an elite season yet.
But they're not building the team around him. They're not trying to build the franchise around him.
That's why he's not close to Judge, because he's endeavored to.
But why did they? But they don't have to build the franchise around him because they have Judge on the same fucking lineup 100 fucking feet away. So he doesn't have to have the lineup built around him. He doesn't need to meet the same fucking qualifications on a team that doesn't have the same fucking superstar.
The point is that any other MLB team would build around Devers before they would Chisholm.
But he isn't on any other fucking MLB team.
Okay, but that's still like the point we're making is that Devers is closer to Judge than Chisholm is, and that's just true.
Okay, I'm not gonna agree with it, but I will agree to disagree that in the role they are playing, in the role that they are playing on their respective fucking franchises, Jazz Chisholm is a more impactful player.
Wait, can we say, like, honestly, I think Judge and Chisholm versus Devers and Bregman, I would take Devers and Bregman personally.
Absolutely fucking not. In regular season or in postseason?
Both.
I think just overall.
Overall? I don't know about that.
I think
I can keep this shit going for 4 I can die on this hill all fucking night.
And that's why I love you. That's why I love you. One of the worst takes of all time, and you're gonna die on it. And I respect
I'm confident, man.
Shall we move on a little bit?
Yeah.
It's getting late. All right. Let's move on to the Pack Your Bags segment. The segment that this whole podcast is really started around. And we're going to start with Pat because he has not gotten to talk much in this episode. I kind of feel bad about that. Been sitting down there in the corner. So, Pat, you can go ahead and start. And looking at the list here, might flare up some more from Stokes, but let's just see.
All good, and I don't mind facilitating a little bit. Some of these debates remind me of when we were going back and forth a lot in the summer of 23 out in Palm Springs, and we had some late nights crushing some beer, and so I am truly enjoying
Romo
this.
top 10, baby. Anyway.
Exactly.
Go to your room, Sam.
We could have a whole nother episode about that. But my Pack Your Bags watch, I feel like recently all of my picks have been guys that I do generally like. And this week it is DJ LeMahieu of the Yankees. And I'm sure you've got a lot to say, Austin. But I mean, he's just a guy who's getting older, and I'm not sure why the Yankees have decided to keep him around. I did just pull up his stats from 2024. 204 batting average in only appeared in 67 games and 201 at-bats. And so he's just a guy who's stuck behind not a ton of depth right now, and I'm sure he'll get a lot more playing time this year just due to that. But I really don't see his value at all going forward. And he's a player. I mean, let me see. I didn't even look up his age before. 36. Holy shit, that's even older than I thought he was. So
I got used to it.
I think
What
a
the
lot
fuck
of
is he still doing?
the reason, and I'm not going to defend DJ LeMahieu's performance because I agree that it's really bad. I think the reason that they just keep dragging him around like a dead carcass is because he can play anywhere you put him, and I just think that's such a hard thing to come by. And that he's not great, but he could kind of do whatever you need him to do. And so I just think that's why they keep getting that old fuck out there, is just because he can't do anything well, but I'll be goddamned if he can't do everything. He's kind of fast. He's decent on defense. I mean,
that's why I do like him, because he did exactly that in Colorado, and that was obviously part of his prime and towards the later years of Colorado. And once he went to the Yankees, he was still, I would argue that he was still in his prime. But now, like, there's no reason for any team to hold on to this guy.
Well, he kind of reminds me of, like, Mitch Haniger with the Mariners, which the only reason he's there is because he's just getting paid so much fucking money And it's also the thing of like the guy's just been with that team and had these big moments where the Yankees are truly just like, we're paying this fucking guy like we can get like one or two moments out of him. Like
it's the same shit,
something.
and I have steamrolled so many of these conversations, but it's the same shit we saw with Brett Gardner, where
That's
he was
exactly
going
what
to
I was
be
gonna
good
say.
a couple times a season, and he's just so old that the veteran leadership or whatever, like he's going to have 3 or 4 big moments a year, and maybe they're worth $30 million, but I mean, Jesus fucking Christ, can we get rid of some of these old guys, man? They always hang on to that one guy who's like a utility in whatever like region of the field he plays and can hit for singles. And Slater, I think it was you that sent this tweet a while back of DJ LeMahieu hitting possible singles in spring training.
Yeah, let babies.
That's crazy. I mean, he's just you can't like make me hate DJ LeMahieu, but you also can't make me love DJ LeMahieu. He's just forever going to be like, what was his name? John Jay or Lucas Duda, just like career
Those
utility
are two really
players
different
who.
players.
I know, I'm not saying they're the same, but I am saying that they were both like utility guys through and through, and that they were both like guys who you could just kind of fucking get out there and they'll be okay. They'll make it. They have. I mean, and again, please do not read too much into my takes on John Jay, but some raw athleticism that just kind of carried him through a lot of situations he shouldn't have been that good in, and that's the same shit with LeMahieu.
DJ LeMahieu legitimately was awesome from like ballpark here, probably like 2018 to 2020, or 2022, but now he's not that guy anymore.
But they're gonna hang on to him until he legitimately hurts the team.
It's probably already at that point.
Yeah. So that's what I was gonna say. Is like, I mean, this guy. Well, first of all, I'll say real ones remember Cubs DJ LeMahieu before the Rockies days, but also when he was with the Rockies, this guy's legitimately winning batting titles, and he was pretty darn good with the Yankees his first couple years too. It's just he's old, and you compared him to John Jay. One way I'll compare him to John Jay. John Jay is now a coach. And that's what DJ LeMahieu should get into. He'd probably make a hell of a bench coach because he's a good clubhouse guy. He knows how to hit. Like he'll probably make a fantastic bench coach, but probably shouldn't get 200 at bats.
I mean, he's just one of the guys that's going to stretch his career for 3 years longer than it should go, and he'll ride off into the sunset. Like, and you just can't avoid it. And we've got another. I have honestly no idea what his contract looks like, so we might have another 2 or 3 years. I don't know, but God, I hope it's soon.
I don't know that's not bad. You're right.
All right, so moving on, the Pack Your Bags segment. We will move. I've just now noticed that we've got 2 Yankees and 2 Red Sox, so we'll go to a Red Sox now. Let's go to the father. I'll say this every time, by the way. The father of the Pack Your Bags segment and the saying itself, Andrew Slade.
Yeah, like Yoshida makes a lot of money, and is just a dog shit fielder. Imagine if Jason Dominguez was already like 35, and that's pretty much what Yoshida is. The bat is still valuable, but the defense is just so god awful that. And like we said, when the Red Sox signed Bregman is eventually going to play third base. Devers is going to slide to DH, and at that point, with the young guys, there's no room for Masataka Yoshida. And Yoshida hasn't lived up to the contract. The Red Sox are going to trade Yoshida as part of some deal at some point in this season, probably. Especially because the bat still has value. He's a slightly above average hitter that he's a DH that will have like 110 WRC plus, which is valuable for some teams like the Mariners probably could use them if they have Schwarber already. And yeah, to where that scene, Masataka Yoshida just does not fit in this lineup. He's not good enough. The glove is just so god awful that he's just got to pack your bags. He's going to be a guy that ends up on a team like the Guardians and try and help them win the AL Central in September. That's how I see Mustard.
I could even see him becoming a AAA guy for a team, and they just kind of hope they fix it.
That's the bat is good though. Like the bat is above average, I should say. And that's it. Like when you're at the trade deadline, you like, especially again when you're just looking for like cheap guys. The Red Sox are probably just willing to eat most of that money. They just want to get some of it off the table. So I think Yoshida still has like 2 years left or something like that.
Yeah, that was the thing for me is like he does have a decent bat and like he'll make a fine DH for some team when he gets traded. But like when he got that contract, like well, honestly, he probably should like I don't know, maybe open up a new betting account for Shohei Ohtani because he got that contract because he's Japanese and Shohei Ohtani did what Shohei Ohtani has done. And, you know, a lot of guys have done that and it's worked out. Like, you know, Imanaga came over and he's worked out, Yamamoto and all that. But for every one of those, there's the, like, Shintaro Fujinami or whatever, and there's the Yoshidas who, like, got big contracts because they played really well in Japan. And, like, he's fine, but he's not worth that contract.
What's like I remember at the time when the Red Sox signed him, people were like, one, it happened like right away after the posting period, and people were like, and at the time people thought it was overpay, and that was when like people thought Yoshida could still play left field, and now it's just apparent that like Yoshida cannot play left field, and if you stick him out there, it's almost like similar to how like it was like what Nelson Cruz was in like in the outfield, where you're like, why is this guy out there?
Yeah.
With 2 outs
in
the bottom.
Yes, exactly. And like even worse when Nelson Cruz got older. But like that's pretty much where Yoshida's at now. Like he can't play the outfield. He can hit, but he's only just like an above average hitter at the plate, I would say. So again, I think he'll get traded. He'll go to a team that's trying to compete. And there's some value in him, but overall, again, he is not even close to what his contract.
How old is he?
He's got to be like 30.
Oh.
30, like he's like mid-30s. Like
34, 35, I think.
That sounds right.
31.
No, really. Well, when he plays, he looks older.
He's only 31. Holy
he
shit.
moves around in left field like he's 37.
Let's see. Yeah, he looks like again. He cannot. He's literally in the easiest ballpark to play left field, and literally the Red Sox have told him like, "Hey, you can't fucking play left field." When playing left field in Fenway is literally you stand there, and if the ball is over your head, you turn around. That's literally all you do. So like,
It's true.
yeah, that's all I got in Masataka Yoshida.
Any more thoughts on Yoshida? All right.
I mean, I agree. I think he's overrated, but whatever.
What was his? Is it like a wrist injury that just keeps lingering on? Something like that, right?
I think there's
I think
something with him. Yeah. I forget what it is, though.
I think that's just what's fucking with his consistency too, especially just that wrist movement. I don't know. I could be completely off with that. I honestly didn't do any research on him before this.
Again, the bat is valuable, especially if he gets things figured out, like on the health wise side. But like, it's mainly like the Red Sox obviously are going to Devers as a DH pretty soon here, and there's just literally like no value, like at all for them to keep him, and they're going to trade him. And he probably can be a pretty valuable DH for someone else. But it's really just, he makes so much money. This is the main thing also about his value.
I'd love to make a lot of money to be told I can't play left field in Fenway.
Exactly.
All right, so moving on in the Pack Your Bags segment, quickly we will go back to the other Yankee on the list. And that would be from Austin, and a man that is very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, America's first baseman. This is kind of like if let's say you're driving to work one day and you get a flat tire. And instead of going to buy, I don't know, $100 new tire, you go and you buy a $700 spare tire. And now you don't have the money to buy a new fucking tire because you just spent the rest of your fucking money on a spare tire. So now you have to use this shitty ass old fucking just washed up spare tire with a shitty back until you can finally make the money to get a new tire at the trade deadline or just next fiscal fucking quarter. And maybe you'll drive your car normally again. Paul Goldschmidt sucks. I'm sick of it. Spring training is barely fucking over. It's not even over at the time that we're recording this. They've still got games to play. I'm fucking so done with watching these old motherfuckers eat innings at first base. They would still let Mark Teixeira run out there if he wanted to. And then we had to fucking watch the travesty of 3 years of whoever the fuck they could find to play first base. And then they sent fucking Tony Rizzo out there to fucking take some innings like a proper fucking Italian and let him ride off into the sunset as a fucking Yankee. And now we're going with an even older, even more washed up motherfucker, Paul Goldschmidt.
That's not true. Paul Goldschmidt now is better than Anthony Rizzo.
There will become a point.
Yeah, Goldschmidt is
season.
Better than Rizzo. 100%.
I agree. I completely agree. And anybody would have been a fucking upgrade. I would even at this point, dig up Miguel Sano wherever he is and let him play first for the Yanks. But I mean, you're overpaying for an old fuck who isn't going to produce like you want him to. We're not going to see the resurgence of Paul Goldschmidt. We're going to see him play well until the trade deadline when they can pawn him off for somebody else. I really hope I do not have to turn on the TV and look at Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt on the corner in pinstripes this time. Because then I will truly know what it's like to be a fan of a shit-ass franchise.
Hey.
Sorry, but that will truly be rock bottom for me. And I thought rock bottom was when Greg Bird and Todd Frazier were my corner infielders. But somehow there will be a step down if we get Nolan fucking Arenado to not care and Paul Goldschmidt to need a wheelchair as our corner infielders. He's going to break his fucking spine in 6 different places by the time the weather gets above 95 degrees in the Bronx. And we're fucked. And I really just hope there's not a lot of infield ground balls. Like, that's my hope. And that he squeezes out 15 bombs before we let his ass go. That's really my hope. And that's really all I've got to say about the matter.
I love Paul Goldschmidt. He didn't perform in the postseason for the Cardinals.
No.
Which was upsetting, but I can't hate the guy. He's awesome in the clubhouse, and he won an MVP a couple years ago.
If I have to hear someone say another first baseman's good in the clubhouse again, I'm going to just crash the fuck out if I have to go through another clubhouse first baseman. I'm so sick of this shit.
Listen, he's an awesome human being. And he's not.
Oh my fucking god! So was Anthony Rizzo. So was
Machine. That's my Rizzo. The way you feel about him is the way I feel about Rizzo.
But also, like, Paul Goldschmidt, had down, compared to the.
You're not fucking 13.
No,
it's okay to move on.
Listen to me. Okay.
It's incredible. Like Austin, I don't want to hear another clubhouse first baseman. He just starts with Paul Goldschmidt is an amazing human being.
He's a good Christian man. No. He had down years the last 2 years, but his down years were solid for a lot of people. I'm just putting that
solid for the Cardinals.
No, look at the stats. He still hit above 20 homers. He was still hitting above 250. He still
Against
plays
fucking
good
who?
defense. Major League Baseball teams, everybody plays everybody now. You can't just say it's the Central. I think listen, yeah, he's old.
I can say,
but he's not gonna be unbelievably tragically terrible for you. It's just
no. I mean, he's
also,
not gonna be the worst first baseman.
They're not gonna trade him at the deadline because they're not gonna be selling, and nobody's gonna buy. Nobody's gonna be like, yeah, okay, we're gonna send you a top tier starting pitcher, but you have to give us Paul Goldschmidt. It's not gonna happen.
They will. I have a bad feeling they will.
We'll see. Thoughts from...
I just feel like somebody out there, some organization needs him. You know, I feel like the Pirates. I feel like the Pittsburgh Pirates need Paul Goldschmidt.
That'd probably make me cry if he played for the sad ass Pirates organization. All right,
Clubhouse dad.
That's what he is. He paid for Ollie Marmol to have a night nanny when he was just the bench coach. So when he went on the road, he's a good guy. God damn it. Any thoughts from Slater or Pat about Paul Goldschmidt?
I think we've covered it.
All right.
I think so as well.
Well, we'll move on to the last Pack Your Bags player, and that is my guy, and it's a Red Sox. And it is Trevor Story, who has had a fall off, and it's not even like the fall off like Anthony Rendon where he's still relevant because he fell off. I forgot Trevor Story played for the Red Sox for a while. And it's not even just because, like, yeah, his, like, stats have fallen off a little bit. Really, it's the health. Like, he just didn't play. Like, since he's joined the Red Sox, he's not played 100 games. He got to 94 in 2022, and 23 it was only 43 games. Last year he only played in 26 games. And he's just like, he's losing years at this point, and every year he gets older, and he's not playing games. And not that, like, I don't know, like, not that he still would have been in his prime, but he's missing years towards the end of his prime to where now he's just entering, you know, the end of his career in a way, and he's eating up a spot, and he's making quite a bit of money.
Yeah, like, Trevor Story, it's been unfortunate, the injury history, you know, he's had with the Red Sox. And, like, the thing is, we all remember kind of the Colorado Rockies days, and, like, he still does have a good glove. And the bat is still there, but I just don't.
To me,
it really is just, can he stay healthy? And it is a thing, too, like, you know, we talked about, you know, what I talked about was the Ishida. Is the Red Sox have these young guys coming up, and especially they have two shortstops coming up to where it is just like...
Yeah, like at some point...
If Story doesn't quickly put it together, yeah.
Yeah, like Robinson and Mayer are going to be like... One of the two, if not both, are going to be tearing up in AAA, and Trevor Story is either going to be on the IL or hitting like 220, and the Red Sox are going to have a decision to make on that money. And probably
I remember when Trevor Story was going to be the next Derek Jeter, and everybody said he was going to be the greatest thing to happen to the position of shortstop. I vividly remember when people were talking about him like he was the next best fucking thing.
Trevor Story really does. Both of them are pretty sad, but he pretty much is. It feels like just the Troy Tulowitzki like 2.0.
Yeah,
is just how I feel about him.
Absolutely.
It's sad because again, both of them in their prime were so fun to watch, and then it just like their injury bug gets them, and they just have like their twilight years with some shitty AL East teams.
Yeah, I mean, I can't help but feel for a guy like Trevor Story, and like you said, Slater. It just reminds me of Troy Tulowitzki, another guy from Colorado that I grew up watching, and you just hate to see them go through like this tenure of injury and what should be the prime of their career, honestly. And I think must have been this last year, like right after it was announced that he'd missed the rest of the season. He was in a press conference and you could see him almost like brought to tears by it, and it's just like, man, I just
he's been in the league a long time. Like what?
Yeah, now he has
12 years now, probably 12, 13.
2016 is when he started.
I was saying, I think 2016 he probably came up.
Well, it is also he's only 31, which is like, you know, if you're a superstar player, like he had the potential to be, like we were talking about him back then. You know, 31 is still, you can still get it done for a few years, and like, but with the injury history at 31 feels a lot older, and it's like, you know, he's had 179 career homers, and all but 5 of those were through his age 29 season. Like, that's a pretty good pace, but then his age 30 and 31 season were just lost. You know,
like it's. Yeah, it's sad, and especially like I think his last injury was the shoulder on that diving, attempting at like a diving stop at short. Again, it's just I don't know, it's tough for him. Like I do hope Trevor Story I don't know if it's going to be with the Red Sox. I do hope he gets maybe an opportunity to just really take his time, like come up with a team, like or not come up, but like get back to form with the team. I don't think that's going to be the Red Sox though.
I honestly, and I keep up with AL East baseball a lot. I also, like Zach, totally fucking forgot he played for the Red Sox until we started talking about him. Like, fuck me, man. Totally forgot that guy was still playing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think, we'll see. He's only 31, 32. Like, there's a chance for a comeback. But again, the point of the pack your bag segment is it's not going to be with the Red Sox with the prospects they have at that position. So we'll stop talking so negatively. Let's get a little bit more positive like we like to do at the end of our shows. And let's move on to the Stay Hot segment. And we will keep it with me. Why not? I'm going to talk a little bit about Vlad Guerrero Jr., and I don't have to talk a lot about it because we talked about him earlier. Point is, he had he's had a couple of really, really good seasons in his career that have been overshadowed by other people, and it's just kind of how it's worked out. But he had a really good season last year. And if I could hold on and get on to the right page here. But last year, he hit 323. Hit 30 home runs. Now, you probably want a little bit more home runs out of him at his player type, but he hit 323. He had a 6.2 WAR. He had 199 hits. Like, he had a really good year. He is still, let me check the age. He turns 26 in 3 days. He's only 26. He's entering his prime. He's entering a contract year, and I think he seems pretty pissed off with the Blue Jays for not giving him the contract that he wants. And I think I saw some report, I don't know if it was from him or just like what his agents are looking for, but the idea is he wants to have an MVP caliber season and get a $600 million contract this upcoming offseason. If he's that motivated,
I know just the place he can do it.
If he's that motivated, then I think he's going to have a damn good MVP type season. People forget how good that of a season that he had. Let me see what year it was specifically. It was 2021. People forget how good that year was because there was this guy named Shohei Ohtani that really exploded onto the scene. And so he didn't win an MVP when he would have.
Yeah, like Vlad Jr., he just hits the shit out of the ball. He's just got to elevate more. He's just hitting warm burners like constantly. For if he elevates, it's gonna be crazy. Like Austin, like it'll be crazy to see his free agency. I know Austin's hoping he's going to the Yankees, but we'll see. They'll probably end up with another clubhouse guy, and
I don't have any more fucking clubhouse guys in me.
Oh my gosh. I can't even think of I'm trying to think of the right player to think of. Just imagine if Vlad Jr. went to the Red Sox and the Yankees ended up with, I don't know. They re-signed Paul Goldschmidt after a 15 home run season.
They're gonna give that motherfucker 5 more years.
Oh gosh, but no, with Vlad Jr. Yeah, we touched on him a lot earlier, but he's a great player. Entering his contract season, he seems obviously through the comments very motivated to put on a great performance going into this contract year. He's gonna post probably 30 plus home runs and just be hitting the shit out of the ball.
I guess I didn't realize how young he was still. When he pointed that out, Machine, and I do remember him in 2021 just because that All-Star game was at Coors Field, and I remember being really excited to see him step on the field at Coors. So, I guess he's got a ton of upside now that I think about it.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of season he has if he puts his money where his mouth is and does what he says he's going to do. Then it's going to be a really good year. It'll be fun to watch. Moving on in the Pack Your Bags segment, we will go to a Yankee before we finish with 2 Orioles. So I'll send it to once again, the birthday boy, Austin Stokes, to talk about Austin Wells.
Yeah, I think Wells has a lot of potential. I haven't been this excited, and I think the organization hasn't been this excited about a catcher since Posada. I mean, I know we're only still in spring training, but I mean, the fact that I'm talking seriously and that a lot of people are really seriously thinking that this is the opening day leadoff hitter for the Yankees is crazy. I don't know another catcher in the league that I trust in that position. And I'm not saying he's the best in the league by any stretch of the imagination because of the talent that there is out there, but I don't know another catcher that you would want in the leadoff hole spot on opening day. I think that speaks volumes to him as a ball player. I think he's looked fantastic in spring training. I don't have his exact pop time stats in front of. I don't even know where you look to find his pop time stats, but I mean he looks fantastic behind the plate defensively. The arm is good. The transition is fantastic. He's really good calling pitches. I mean he's who you want. I think it was Slater earlier who said he was above average MLB catcher. Yeah, I agree with that. I think he is. I think he's very much above average.
What's the, I said like he's above average MLB catcher, and that's the thing is I feel like as an MLB team, all you can really want is an above average catcher,
especially with the state of the position right now.
Exactly, like the position is so there's only a few like good MLB catchers out there. I would I would still put Remuta there, Cal Raleigh's there, Rushman's there, William Contreras. There's probably one, and then there's definitely one more guy I'm missing. But like those are the guys those type of like catchers are the ones I put like in good, and Austin Wells is like I think in like the tier like right below, which is like above average catcher.
And I mean, again, this is a young guy. He still has time to get to being a great catcher. And I think he will. I don't see. There's nothing that's glaring out to me. No, major injury problems, no major slumps to speak of yet. That makes me think he's going to fall off. I think we're seeing the beginning of a really fantastic tenure as a Yankee catcher. And again, and I'll say this: I do not know of another Yankee catcher that stirred this much within the fan base since the core four and Jorge Posada. I think that's just such a rare thing to have a catcher that your entire organization is so supportive of and so willing to put in these big situations. The other catchers that come to mind that they've done that to, not just the Yankees, but organizations as a whole. There was a really great guy that played in St. Louis for a couple of years who the organization really trusted. And, even guys who maybe didn't have Hall of Fame stats, Jared Saltalamacchia, that's another catcher that a franchise trusted year in, year out and really put a lot of faith in. It gives me a lot of hope for what's going to come in the next couple of years to see an organization putting a young guy up right there in the front and leading the pack and wanting to go out and really set the tone as a leadoff hitter and be successful when there's other guys who I think could fill that spot if he didn't. So I'm all in on Austin Wells. I'm a huge Wells fan. I know spring training stats may not matter to some people. That guy was one of the best hitters on the team. He was one of the best hitters in the MLB in spring training. I'm excited, man. I'm really stoked to see what he's going to look like come July.
I'll always remember sitting in your apartment visiting you and watching a Yankees-White Sox game and Austin Wells becoming maybe the first player ever to hit a home run and then his home run never be replayed because they were still replaying Aaron Judge's 300th career home run like 2 innings later instead. And I'm not here to shit on Austin Wells. I think that he is solid. You can't ask for much more. He's got last year at 103 OPS plus and a 2.5 WAR. That's just, it's like we talked about in previous podcasts, like the quarterback catcher comparison. Every team needs a good catcher, but there's not 30 good catchers out there. So you just have to be happy with a guy like Austin Wells. I will point out that he's only like around 100 days younger than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., which is crazy to me. They're both 25 right now. And Guerrero turns 26 in 3 days. Wells will turn 26 in like 110 days or something like that. Crazy. But Austin Wells, solid. That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
All right. We will move on now to Slater and his Oriole that he has on the Stay Hot watch. A guy that, as a Cardinals fan, I will always keep a close eye on because of who his father is, Jackson Holliday. Also, quickly, fun fact: I've been in the same building as Jackson Holliday in the past few months because he is him and his dad and his brother Ethan are somewhat regulars at Oklahoma State sporting events.
Also, Jackson Holiday's Pat's guy.
Oh, I see. That's my bust. It's late.
It's getting too late, man.
Right? Yeah, I mean, just bouncing off a little bit about the history of his dad. His dad, Matt Holliday, was my first favorite Rocky, and the first Rockies jersey I have is a Matt Holliday 2007 World Series patch jersey. So, really cool to see a guy like Jackson Holliday come up, and I think he's got a ton of upside. And obviously, the reason I have him as my Stay Hot watch. He was the first overall pick in 2022, and then he had a very slow start this last year. Started a 2 for 34 start at the beginning of the season with a what was the average? I wrote it down. 0.059 average to start the season, and it was really, I mean, so many people were saying like, "Oh, this guy's a bust. What the hell?" And then they sent him down on assignment until about end of July or beginning of August, I think. And then the rest of the season, once he was back with the O's, I did some math. He ended up hitting 218 the rest of the season. Got used to some more big league hitting. Another stat in the final 2 weeks of the season, he hit 290 with improved hard hit contact and fewer strikeouts. So that was really big to see him do that. Finished the season with a 189 batting average, and I think that's just due to the slow start. And then so far into spring training, in 30 at bats, he's hitting 276. With 1 home run out of the 8 hits. And I think based on where he's at in spring training, and I've seen some pictures of him in spring training too, and he looks jacked. And he's like the baby face of the league, where right now his face doesn't match the body, and it's kind of funny to see. It's like almost like this kid's balls dropped right in front of us.
That's like Jackson Holiday just has like these crazy intangibles, and I think it is crazy just how quickly he came up. Again, 2022 first overall pick, dropped out of high school, and already be in the major leagues, like going into his it's gonna be his first full year with the big league ball club, hopefully. I did see like a YouTube video. I think it's from Eric Sim, like King of JUCO, where they had like these guys hang off a tee to see their exit velos. And Jackson Holliday hit a ball 110 miles per hour off the fucking tee.
I saw that video,
which is unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. Like I think like his younger brother, who is also expected to be like the first overall pick. I think it's this draft or next or whatever.
Yeah, it's this one.
Drug test the Holiday family.
Honestly, let's see. Matt Holliday still hit fucking 101 off the tee, which is again just stupid. like to hit a ball that hard off the tee is just which is Matt Holliday honestly could roll out of bed and probably still hit like 20 home runs.
The Yankees might sign him, man. I wouldn't say too much.
He's a clubhouse guy too.
Yeah, he's a clubhouse guy.
Fuck you.
The thing for Jackson Holliday to me that I think is a real like advantage for him is that he's not gonna have like the pressure that a number 1 overall pick playing in the MLB this quickly should have, because like he's gonna just kind of like low key just fit into that lineup somewhere, and it's like you got Gunnar Henderson around him, you've got Cowser and all of them. It's like he doesn't have to be the guy yet.
Yeah,
like,
I mean
there's
that's
that-
just that team right now.
Well, I
I
was
mean,
saying-
everybody's young and ahead of when they should be.
Like, there's that meme that, like, the Baltimore Orioles are just a bunch of baby-faced, white, blonde guys who are just top prospects.
And they
They
mastered
they
it.
literally have like 40 of them.
Yeah. Like, it's just so like he's not going to have as much pressure as a guy in his situation probably should, and if he can take advantage of that, then he's going to have a pretty good season.
I could see him honestly finishing the season with 15 to 20, at most 25 home runs if he plays an entire season and starts a majority of those games.
Yeah.
Rookie of the year, I think. Well, I don't know if he's still eligible or not. He might be.
I was trying to
He'll
do
have
some
enough
research on that.
service. He'll have enough service.
We'll see.
Yeah,
He might have-
He didn't play. That
he might have-
last year.
I don't know. He might have just had too many. What is the cutoff for, like, at bats, or is it per at bat?
I think it's
I think
service days. Like just
Yeah, service days. And I think he wasn't up, like, in the grand scheme of things. He wasn't up very long last year. Like, what, a month total? Probably 2 months.
Well, he came up real quick and they sent him down real quick because, like Pat said, like he just had that brutal start. But then I forget when
Yeah.
they brought him back. I'm trying to pull up real quick because also I don't want us to. Because I know we're running low on this recording time.
Yes.
I'll go quick though with my stay hot once we get there. But okay, let me look up here. I mean, this is a joke. So it does not appear. I'm going off FanDuel, just odds for Rookie of the Year. It doesn't appear Jackson Holiday's eligible. But fucking, guess who is eligible? Somehow at the fucking ripe age of probably fucking 25, like most Yankees prospects. Jason Dominguez is at top of the list for American League Rookie of the Year odds.
Let's go, baby. Fucking laugh.
This
Let's
is
go,
What a
Martian.
fucking joke. I know we're getting close to the end of our core time. I'm just going to real quick jump into my stay hot. Gunnar Henderson, same team, another baby-faced blonde guy. Do not look up any information on his high school and the dark history of it. Do not do it. But Gunnar Henderson, great baseball player, good shortstop. I think him and Bobby Witt are like American League shortstops that are going to run the league.
Yeah.
Starting probably this year. I think it's also being a great rivalry. I think. Yeah, like they are going to go back and forth, like
For a long time.
like those two and Judge. Judge is obviously getting older. Probably eventually is gonna like teeter off compared to the other two when they're in their prime. But like those two are gonna be going head to head for like their whole career, and it's gonna be pretty special to watch.
Yeah, I agree.
I think already this year, I think Gunnar Henderson, dark horse MVP pick.
Yeah, like I mean, he was so good last year, and even like the games. Like I remember when I went to his July 4th game. Orioles played the Mariners, and he hit like an opposite field home run that was just a fucking laser. Like it truly looked like just a right-handed batter just hit like a line drive into the bullpens out there and left. And the guy's just got crazy pop. He's young. He plays a premier position well, and is just really athletic. So there's really no downside to him. He's a 5-tool player. The only downside is just his high school's dark history.
And you can just ignore that like the rest of us. So
Exactly. Just don't look it up. Just pretend it's not real.
Take our word for it.
Exactly.
You don't
Just
need to
look
look
it
up
up.
stats.
Yeah.
Just listen to the Club 303 podcast.
Just know it's the high school is located in Mississippi, and you can kind of figure out what happened there.
all right. Anything else for the good of the order?
I mean, what I'll say about Gunnar Henderson is he's probably the young guy in the MLB that I'm most excited about. As you guys know, I'm an avid baseball card collector, and I've got my hands this last year on a couple of Gunnar Henderson rookie cards that I think we'll absolutely appreciate in years to come. And he's just a cool guy too. I mean, he's just got that swagger to him on a baseball field. And, he's him and Holiday and some of those other young guys in Baltimore. I mean, it'll be really, really cool to see where where that team goes in the years to come. So
Agreed.
Well, what a chaotic and crazy episode it has been as it nears 1 a.m. Central Time and 2 a.m. in the East where Pat is. But thank you guys for all sticking with us. Shout out. Got a lot of great content coming your way. Buy stock now. This thing's going to blow up. We'll see ya.